The Italian campaign was the Allies' first invasion of mainland Europe through Italy after the fall of France. The Italian campaign was started on July 10th, 1943, after the victories in the North African campaign against Rommel and the Italian forces. The Allied campaign ultimately resulted in Allied victory. However, the Italian campaign failed at its main objective of being the gateway into Germany. The Italian campaign began with the invasion of Sicily by the Allies on July 10, 1943. The invasion of Sicily lasted a little over a month and resulted in the Allied forces controlling the entirety of the Isle of Sicily. The Isle of Sicily was then used as a staging ground for the invasion of continental Italy. The invasion of Sicily mainly was carried out by American and British troops. However, some Canadian and other divisions were there as well. The invasion of Italy saw the British forces taking off from Sicily and landing in the southern toe of Italy, while also landing in the town of Tarantino. Meanwhile, American and British forces attempted a D-Day-like invasion of Salerno, with similar results. The landing zone at Salerno was not bombarded by aerial or naval bombardments, rather was just attacked head-on in order to attempt to make a surprise attack. The enemy, however, was not surprised at all and was prepared for this attack. During the invasion of mainland Italy, a secret armistice was signed on September 3rd of 1943 by King Victor Emmanuel and the Italian Prime Minister Pietro Battiago. The armistice was signed behind Mussolini's back, who was soon thrown out by his own government. The German army retaliated immediately and occupied most of Italy that wasn't occupied already by the Allies. The armistice, however, distracted the Germans and allowed the Allies to have an easier assault of mainland Italy. After the close success of these landings, by October of 1943, the entirety of southern Italy was in Allied hands. The Allied forces stood facing the Volturno Line. The Volturno Line was a line of German defenses prepared along roughly the Volturno River. It was located about 20 miles north of Naples. The Volturno Line, along with a separate Barbera Line, were used by the Germans to delay the Allied advance to buy time to build up a more formidable defensive position, which was known as the Winter Line. The Winter Line ground the Allies' advance to a halt. Despite landings at Anzio during Operation Shingle, the Allied forces could not break out of the Winter Line until May of 1944. When the Winter Line was finally broken in May of 1944 by combined forces including British, American, French, Canadian, and Polish troops, the American General Mark Clark had the opportunity to cut off and destroy a large part of the German 10th Army. However, he decided to disobey his orders and move into vacant Rome. This would allow the German 10th Army to retreat and cost the Allies many lives, as the Germans fell back to a later line and fought fiercely when they could have been destroyed. Despite this, the American General Mark Clark was viewed as a hero back home.
In 1943, it was one of our strategic aims to draw as many German forces as possible away from the Russian front and French coastal areas, and to contain them on the Italian peninsula, while liberating as much of Italy as might be possible with the means at our disposal. As the bulk of our supplies was directed to England for the forthcoming invasion, operations in Italy had to be conducted on an extremely limited scale.
The Allied forces took possession of Rome on June 4, 1944. Soon after the capture of Rome, the Allied invasion of Normandy, now known as D-Day, took most of the attention away from the Italian campaign. That included troops, resources, and ammunition. This seriously hindered the Allies' ability to advance into northern Italy during the following months. Whilst many Allied troops were being removed from the Italian front to fight on Normandy, the Brazilian 1st Infantry Division, the U.S. 92nd Infantry Division, and the U.S. 10th Mountain Division all arrived on the Italian front. As the Allied forces advanced into northern Italy, they came across the Gothic Line. The Gothic Line was located just above Florence. By the time the Gothic Line was broken, Allied forces controlled most of Germany, and the Russians were walking into Berlin. On May 8, 1945, the German Reich surrendered and victory in Europe was achieved, thus bringing the end to the Italian campaign, as well as the German campaign.